Good afternoon, everyone. Baruch Hashem, YouTube is back up, so we can continue with the shiurim. I think people had quite a scare this morning. Just kidding. We're going to skip a little bit to talk about the brachas one makes when lighting the menorah. So we're on Tafresh Ayin Vav in the Mishnah Berurah, which is 676, and we'll start from Aleph 1. We'll do some of the Mishnah Berurahs. We're not going to do all of them. Hamadlik Balal Rishon, when one lights the Hanukkah lights on the first night of Hanukkah, Mevarach Gimel brachas, he makes 3 brachas. Lahadlik ner Chanukah, he makes Lahadlik ner shel Chanukah, that's 1. V'she'asa nisim, he makes She'asa nisim lavaseinu bayamim ha'hem bezman hazeh, which is that God performed miracles for us during those times. V'she'achiyanu, and he makes the She'achiyanu blessing. And the She'achiyanu is the blessing we make the first time we do a mitzvah for the year. So we make it the first on Rosh Hashanah when we blow the shofar. We make it on Purim when we read the Megillah. So too, we also make it the first night when we light Hanukkah lights on Hanukkah. And the Shulchan Aruch says, "Ve'im lo birech zman balal rishon mevarach balal sheni o k'sheyizkir." And if you didn't make the bracha of She'achiyanu for some reason on the first night, let's say you didn't know you were supposed to make a She'achiyanu, then when you light candles on the second or third night, or whenever it is, or whenever you remember, then you make She'achiyanu. So it doesn't have to be only on the first night, because if you didn't remember on the first night, you could make it on a subsequent night. Okay, let's do Halacha Beis, Sif Beis. Malal Rishon ve'elech, Mevarech Beis, Lahadlik v'She'asa nisim. From the second day of Hanukkah and on, so that's where we are now this year, you make 2 blessings. You make Asher Kedishanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu Lahadlik ner shel Chanukah, and you make V'She'asa nisim la'avoseinu bayamim ha'hem bezman hazeh, and you don't make She'achiyanu. Now, if anyone is listening and wants to have, I can write a transliteration. If someone doesn't read Hebrew and wants to know these blessings, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to do that. And the Ramah writes, "Vayivarech kol habrachos kodem sheyaschil lahadlik," and one should make the blessings before he lights the Hanukkah candles. That's very important. That we light the Hanukkah. We make the bracha before we light the Hanukkah candles. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Shtaim lahadlik v'She'asa nisim denes kol yoma isa shari kol shmoni yamim hidliku min hapach avozman v'sheyagiu l'haschalas hazman higienu. So he says that we make the second blessing, which describes Hashem doing a miracle for us, we make on each one of the nights of Hanukkah, because the Mishnah Berurah writes, it sounds like that each day there was a miracle. It sounds like they put a little bit of oil in each day. They only had enough oil to last for one night. But it sounds like each day, they didn't put all the oil in one day. It sounds like they put in a little oil, according to the Mishnah Berurah here, and that it lasted for each day. So that means there were really kind of like 8 separate miracles in a way, because there was an eighth of the amount of oil that should be, and it lasted the entire day. And that's why every day there was a miracle, so we make the blessing of She'asa nisim, but we don't make the bracha of She'achiyanu, which we only make at the first time we do a mitzvah, because that is a bracha for that the time of miracles has come. But She'asa nisim, it sounds like we make the bracha every day, because every day there was some sort of miracle happening. Kodem she'ascha lahadlik, the be'inin sheha brachas over la'asiyasam. The reason that we make the brachas before we light the Hanukkah candles is because whenever we make a bracha, we do it before the mitzvah. Hidlik ner Chanukah v'shachach levarich al hadlakasam. Let's say what happens if you lit the Hanukkah lights, but you forgot to make a bracha. What do you do then? V'rak kodem shehidlik kulam niskar dadayin lo birech. But before you finish lighting them all, you remembered that you have to make a bracha. So let's say it's the 4th night of Hanukkah, and you forgot to make a bracha, and you lit 2 of the candles, and then you remember, oh, wait a minute, I didn't make a bracha. So what do? So yesh lo levarach kol brachos, so you can still make all of the brachos. So if you still have candles left that you haven't lit, you can still light the brachos. Od kasav she'im niskar la'achar shehidlik kulam ein levarach birchas lahadlik rak birchas she'asa nisim v'chein birchas she'achiyanu yesh lo levarach. Let's say the Mishnah Berurah writes, what if you lit all of the candles? What do you do then? So then you only make the bracha of She'asa nisim, and if it's the first night, you make the bracha of She'achiyanu. So again, if for some reason you're supposed to make the brachas before you light the candles, let's say you lit some of the candles, you're halfway done, and then you're like, "Oy, I didn't make a bracha." So then you make all of the brachas. But if you lit all of the candles, then you don't make the first bracha anymore, and you only make the second bracha, and if it's the first night, you would also make the third bracha. Let's do halacha gimel. Mishalo hidlik ve'eno asud lahadlik, ba'oso halayla, v'gam ein madlikin alav b'toch beso, kishiroa ner Chanukah mevarach she'asa nisim, u'b'lal rishon mevarach gam shechianu, v'imachar kach b'lal beis, o gimel bod lahadlik, eno chozim mevarach shechianu. Let's say for some reason that you're not lighting Hanukkah candles, whatever the reason is, and nobody in your house is lighting for you, then if you see Hanukkah candles, you could still make the bracha of she'asa nisim. For whatever reason, hopefully no one finds himself in that circumstance. And you could still make the bracha of shechianu. And if for some reason the day after you happen to start lighting, you wouldn't make a shechianu again. That would count as your shechianu. Okay, let's do one more halacha here. Achar shehidlik omer haneros halalu. After one lights, he should sing there's a little text, I think it's on page 782 of the art scroll, called Haneros Halalu. So one should read that after he lights. Omer Haneros Halalu anu madlikim ala teshuos v'alanisim v'alaniflos. It's the paragraph there. And we say that it has 36 words for the 36 candles that are lit on Hanukkah. And he writes that we should start saying this after we light the first candle. Right? From the time that we make a bracha, first we make the two brachas, then we light the first candle, and you shouldn't talk between the time that you make the blessings and you light the first candle. But after you light the first candle, since that's the main mitzvah, after you're lighting the subsequent candles, then you should say Haneros Halalu, this paragraph. He also brings that some have the custom, it might be hard if you don't know it by heart, you might want to read it from the siddur, so you can say Haneros Halalu after you light all of the lights. Okay, so we'll stop there for today, and then I think tomorrow is actually going to be the last day where we learn Hilchos Chanukah. Tomorrow we'll talk about the proper procedure for lighting on each night, and I think after that we're going to start going back soon to the laws of davening. If anyone wants to join, if you know someone who wants to join us for the laws of davening, please feel free to reach out, and have a beautiful day and a happy Chanukah.